Well, hello everybody. It's Mark from Scotland, and it's
And
Devi
Devi from
from.
Tennessee.
And you know what I'm about to do, so cover your ears. Excuse me. And excuse me. Drinking too fast.
Pardon, hold one moment.
And today we're starting our first of, I was going to say 3 talks this week, but we're only doing 1 talk a week. So this is our first 3 weeks about the ethics of mediumship. And I mean, look at these 2 characters. Would you trust us?
I have no ethics, never did.
Okay, well, before we start talking about our subject matter, you know what we're going to do? We're going to talk about news.
News.
If I can find it. There we go. So, Devi, what's the news this week?
Oh dear, I'm sure it's AI something, right, Mark?
Well, yes. We have basically organised a seminar which is going to run for 4 hours. Now, we haven't finalised the date yet. It's going to be approximately 2 months. There's going to be 3 guest speakers, each from the world of AI, on the happy subject of how AI is going to take your job away. We're being serious here, and we're going to show you 3 AI applications that have already been used and already having a direct impact. 2 of them we're using in the business just now. A third one still to be confirmed, which we're also using in the business. I might get a speaker for that. And then I'm going to show you me creating some AI components that you could use if you were running your own business. The emphasis for the first 2 hours is we're not trying to sell you AI. We're trying to scare you, because we seriously think within the next 2 years, 75% of all office jobs, all admin jobs are going to be gone. And the other 25 are going to be downscaled to the point that unless you're highly skilled, you're not going to have a lot of employment value. So you're going to have to start looking for alternatives. And of course, since we train people to be mediums, you know what we're going to say? Come and get a training course and let us set you up in employment as a medium.
Of course.
So we're not going to do 2 hours trying to sell to you. What we're going to do is 2 hours showing you what we're going to teach you. Moi is going to do some rapid fire messages. I don't know how many messages I'm going to do. If we sell 100 tickets, there'll be 100 messages. If we sell 50 tickets, there'll be 50 messages. If we only sell 1 ticket, there'll be 1 very long private message. But the purpose is to show you the technique that we teach, and ergo how you can then use that to kind of run a business. Other than that, Rain, our AI system, is working exceptionally well. We're getting more sales leads than we can cope with. If you don't know who Rain is, there he is. Basically, we had to actually start taking a $10 deposit for the training circle to try and get control of the numbers. We'd also got some people that were basically arsing around, excuse my language, this will probably be edited. And what they were doing was they were literally booking, I could see it because the names were stupid and crazy. But there were 2 or 3 people, I'm assuming it's 2 or 3, were mass booking and then disappearing. And the minute we put the $10 deposit up, they all disappeared. So hopefully they've got the message and they've gone away. The second thing that's happening, because we're so busy with people coming to the training circles, is we're holding 2 training circles on Sunday and 1 on Wednesday. And because we're doing the 2 on Sunday, that's why we're only doing, as we mentioned at the beginning, 1 of these events a week, because we just can't do everything on a Sunday. We'd kill ourselves, so we are killing ourselves, but that's another story for another day. Lots of other things going on, but I'm not going to tell you all about it because it's not firmed up yet. So that's the news. So let's talk about ethics. Oh, now, well, I suppose this is actually news. There have been some complaints, not looking at anybody in particular, like Devi. This was not from Devi, but Devi was mentioned in the complaints. Basically saying that I dominate things too much, that I talk too much. Devi has come up with an idea, which I am not going to do, but let me show you what her idea was.
It was his idea.
Pacifier in my mouth.
It's his idea. I think maybe I need to.
Yeah,
I'll
well,
send you one. I'll send you one. It may take a couple weeks, but it'll get there eventually.
Don't bother. Seriously, don't bother.
Oh, you can get your own? That's good.
I don't need one. I really don't need one. I'll just keep my voice down low.
All right.
Okay, anyway, so ethics. Right, what do we mean by ethics? Debbie?
Ethics. Well, a lot of things. It means, like, are you going to give medical advice? It means, are you going to tell somebody you see their death or somebody's death? It means, are you going to tell somebody they're pregnant? It means all sorts of questions like that.
Yeah, which, as a general answer, no, you don't.
Exactly.
You don't diagnose for two reasons. Number one, we're not medically qualified. Well, if you're a doctor, there's going to be a medium out there that's going to come forward and say, actually, I am a medical doctor.
Well, if you are a doctor, that's different.
That's different. But Debbie and I are not medically qualified to diagnose somebody. So you then when people are being trained, they always come forward and they say, well, what happens if I get this message and I've got to tell them that they've got, and then we go around in circles. Essentially, what you do is you ask a question. You say to the person, do you have any issues with your arms or legs? And if they say no, you drop it. You just say, oh, no, I'm just getting a numb feeling in my arms. And do you know somebody in spirit that had something with their arms? And then you just drop it. If they come back and then say, well, actually, I've been diagnosed with X, Y, Z in my arms, then you can talk about it. And it may be that you're being told that they've got a medical condition and you're not to diagnose they've got a medical condition, but you may be to talk something because of the medical condition. So that's why you ask the question. You say, can you understand you or somebody around you or somebody in spirit having a broken leg amputation, whatever you're getting, they come back.
Or maybe something that, for instance, I had somebody who was drawn to me who said they were drawn to me for a reading. And they ended up, I asked them if they were feeling a lot of pain. And they said, yeah, I have fibromyalgia. And I said, oh, well, goodness, I do too. So we started exchanging ideas and things like that. Yeah.
So it's a tricky one, but you've got to use your common sense.
Absolutely.
Don't go. Think of the reading as a thin layer of ice on a lake, and you're about to jump into that lake. And if you go and diagnose it, you might find yourself going through the ice and drowning. Whereas, the second follow-on from that is it may very well be that you missed the message because, as Devi just demonstrated, the person was guided to you for a different reason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And also just remember that as a medium, you can be sued. There was a case of a medium 5 or 6 years ago in New York State who diagnosed somebody with cancer. Person went away, spent $30,000 in tests for cancer, got a clean bill of health. Great. Then came back and sued the medium for $30,000. Now, okay, 30,000 isn't a lot just now, but back then it was a lot.
It still is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Very true. So probably the most expensive reading that was ever given.
I would say it's an expensive reading. Yes. Absolutely don't diagnose somebody.
Yeah. I suppose the next one that people always get confused about is, now this really doesn't apply to America, but in Scotland, you will find a lot of mediums that refuse to charge money for readings. And they get very aggressive to people like me who do charge for readings and who teach people to charge for readings. So
it happens here too, a lot. I'm in a couple of mediumship Facebook groups where there are so many people always saying, well, I couldn't possibly charge for my gift. And I got to pay rent too, right?
Yeah. Well, there's two things I'll say about that. Number one, Spirit gave you or guided you to have an ability. But
Yeah.
as we said, you still have to pay the rent. You have to earn a living. Now, if you were charging $1 million for a reading,
Okay, that's
that
different.
that's different. And it is a bit of a grey area because you will always, as a working medium, get people guided to you who can't afford the reading. And I'm not saying don't work for nothing, but sometimes you'll just know. There's just something about set of circumstances, bang, 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 you know that you've got to be there to give that reading. How do you know? You just know. It's like a clairvoyant ability. You just know that you've got to give that person the reading. So in those cases, don't charge. Just give the reading, do it for charity. Not charity, but I don't know. What's the right terminology when a lawyer works for nothing?
Pro bono.
Right, okay. So just no matter what you're charging, whatever your income is, or how badly you're not making an income, just be prepared to work on a pro bono basis when the need arises. And I'm
Oh, yeah.
serious.
And I've done that on occasion too.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is where I'm going to get a wee bit controversial because yeah, I have a very an overdeveloped sense of methodology and the way that you should work. And I get very ballistic and aggressive when I see bad mediumship.
He does.
Now, what do I
And
mean by
he's
bad?
not polite about it either.
No, I'm not. Because when I see somebody doing bad mediumship, it basically, okay, we as mediums, wherever you are, wherever you're working, have to overcome skepticism. You have to overcome all sorts of negative attitude towards mediumship, from ignorance through to people that are walking around with the Bible up in their face. And we've covered this in other talks, so
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what we're talking about. And you essentially have to go into Karate Kid self-defense at times. Now, when you get mediums that act badly, they give us all a bad name, and people assume that the minute you say medium, you're going to act just like those idiots.
Exactly.
Now, what do I mean? Well, okay, just simple things like calling out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the
I agree.
number of American and English mediums that I have met who think that they're mediums because they can call out. Quite frankly, anybody can call it out by conning it. And
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that the minute you call out, you set yourself up to be accused to be a con artist. Now, this is where we get inundated by people typing in saying, what does
This,
con mean?
but this is why that's the only kind of mediumship I'd ever seen. And that's why I thought all mediums were frauds before I met Mark. True.
Yeah, so let's go back to the example that we're talking about for the workshop that we're going to do in 2 months on AI when I'm doing the second session of giving the messages.
Right.
Let's assume there's 50 people at the seminar. Calling out is I'll just come on and I'll say, okay, I've got a spirit. He's an old man. He's got a bald patch on his head. He used reading glasses, but he didn't wear them all the often, and he had them on a chain round his neck. And I think he wore a green jumper. Now, I bet you anything you want, at least 10% of the people in that audience will know a man that can fit all that characteristics.
I actually do. So, yes.
Yeah, there you go. And I wasn't giving her a reading. That was just something
No, he just pulled that out of the way.
pull out of random. So then, okay, now the way that you're supposed to work is you give more evidence and then two hands go down and you give more, and you keep going until there's only one person got their hand up. Well, that's not the way, that's not what happens. You start off with 5 hands up, then 2 hands go down and 3 hands go up, and then 2 hands go down and 5 hands go up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was once, I'm not going to mention the man's name, but the business card got handed out at the church, and that's something you never do. You never hand business cards out at churches, but he did. Everybody in the congregation got his business card, and he got up on the platform and he announced, there are so few good mediums in England, and I'm one of them. Does anybody know any good mediums? And I sort of put my hand up and gave a list of 20 names, but put my hand down, and he started calling out. and he was absolute. I mean, his readings were moderately okay, but every single person he was calling out, and I'm not joking, when he came to me, there were 6 people were all fighting to get that reading, because everybody goes to the church, they all want the reading. So if you open the door,
Right. So if
you know,
it's even close, you're gonna raise your hand.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I don't. He wasn't an old man, and he didn't wear a green jumper, and he was a woman, and he wasn't, and she wasn't bald, but she had
But they fit
black.
everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, you laugh, but there is always, when you work in a church, there is always somebody that will take any message, and they will find some way to make the evidence fit. Usually the church president will say, look, that woman in the corner, don't call out, because she'll steal the message. When you go to her direct, you're ready for it. Anyway, the opposite of that, going direct, is, can I come to the woman in the multicolored glasses? Yes. Sorry, I was supposed to allow you to say that, Debbie.
Yeah. So well, now he's talking for me over me again. You see what he does? He doesn't let me speak even when it's my turn.
Oh, stop complaining. Stop complaining.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So I go direct to Devi. Obviously, you wouldn't go direct to somebody you know. You go to people you don't know when you're working on a platform. And I would say, right, can you take a man? I think he's your grandfather. He looks identical to you. He was bald as well. No, actually, no. Tell a lie. He had 3 hairs. He had this clump of 3 hairs. Yeah. And he grew them too long. Can you understand that? Oh,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, that sounds like I'm Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
and then it turns out that she did appear in Lord of the
Maybe
Rings.
I
And
am related. I don't know.
don't laugh, because she
Oh,
did.
stop. Be careful what you be careful what you do. I obviously
Okay,
don't look like that in real life. Now stop.
true. Okay, so Devi then goes, yes, 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 that's working direct. And that I can take. That I can take. Now, the second thing that I get very hyper critical of is generic messages.
Oh
So,
yes.
Devi, give me a generic message.
Oh, your mother's here and she says she loves you very much and she wants you to be happy.
Yeah, and
That's it.
yeah, I know my mother loves me. You're not giving me any evidence.
Obviously.
No, you see what she's doing. It's basically, it's a message that anybody's going to take. There's no evidence in it. There's no, I mean, the message. But now by the message, okay, let's split this down. The message is in 2 parts. The first part is the evidence, and then you cut that off with, do you understand who that is? Yes.
Yes.
No. Right. Let me keep going. Do you understand who that is? Yes. Right. Fine. Are you happy to take a message from that person? Yes. Then the message should be evidential. You know, I mean, what do I mean by evidential? Okay. Do you have, you drove here tonight? Yes. Can you understand a red car? Yes, my car's red. Can you understand a problem with the back rear end of the car? It's funny, it was making a noise on the way in.
Right.
Now you laugh, but I have given so many messages like that, does everybody have a car that is making a noise on the back rear side? No, of course they don't. So that's specific. And it's literally something that's just happened to that person. That may not be the message because it's already happened, but that establishes the connection, and it establishes that the spirit is talking about something that
Yeah,
is
exactly.
evidential, is the word I'm looking for.
Evidential. It's proof,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, because coming back to the ethics of mediumship, what is ethic number 1? As far as I'm concerned, there is only one thing that as a spiritual medium I'm here to do. That's to
Okay.
prove life after death.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot goes around that. I mean, you're helping people, you're giving them
Right.
messages, you're comforting them, X, Y, Z. But boil away the fluff. You boil it all down to the absolute basics. Hashtag proof of life after death.
Right. And if you don't actually prove that with evidence, then you're not really a medium.
Correct.
Just
If I
saying.
In fact, I would go as far as to say anybody that's calling out does not deserve the right to call themselves a medium. Full stop.
Oh, wow. They may not know any other way.
I don't care. They shouldn't be calling themselves mediums. I mean,
That's a little harsh, but okay.
well, is it? I mean, why don't we start tarot card readers as mediums?
Because they're not mediums, they're not talking to spirit. Some of them do, but most of them don't.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. True. Personally, I would burn them. I would burn them on a bonfire.
There he is, burning the witches again. I'll tell you what. As a witch, I could possibly be offended here.
Yeah, but Devi, you know that in Scotland we have the highest per capita number of people in history that were burned as witches. Well, I don't know if they were all burned, but that were killed as witches. So I mean, this is a national.
I know, and possibly I wasn't. That was my past life in Scotland. I was burned as a witch, and that's why I'm so sensitive about it.
Mind you, of course, am I being ethical if I'm burning people for bad mediumship?
Absolutely not.
But I'm upholding the good reputation of mediumship, so I would counter-argue that I am.
No, not if you're being rude about it.
Excuse okay.
My cat.
Okay, so I mean, in defense for people that do that, they don't know what they're doing. They've maybe had bad teachers. They haven't gone to spiritualist church, but a lot of spiritualist churches work that way as well. That really, and I'll tell you something else I don't like, and this is more in America, but I don't like America a lot. Let me rephrase this and do this gently, because we've been in 2 good spiritualist churches last year, which counteracted everything that I'm going to say.
Okay.
But as a generality, I have worked in I've worked in about 5 or 6 American spiritualist churches over my career, and half of them, or I've been to a spiritualist church. I may not have worked in the spiritualist church, but let's just rephrase that. I've been in 6 spiritualist churches in total. Okay. And of those, 3 of them all followed the same bad methodology. Now, that's not the mediumship, that's the church.
It's the church and the teaching, yeah.
But the mediums were only working for minutes. I mean, remember the church we were in where was it again? East Temple Street.
Where?
Temple Street in New York.
I don't remember where we were.
Okay. A really good, don't get me wrong, a really, really good spiritualist church.
They were fantastic, it was great.
To work with. But the church president was very direct, and she said her problem was she couldn't get her mediums to do more than 2 or 3 readings on platform. I did. How many readings did I do on platform?
Almost 20.
Yeah, and I taught.
You had to spread it up between everybody else.
Yeah, and I had 3 other mediums that I gave some basic tuition to, and they were each doing more readings than they would normally do if they were working by themselves, and these were the church mediums. Right. So, okay, that's not really ethics, that's just down to abilities, but
I'm curious, actually, side note here, to find out if they're still working like that.
Oh, one of them contacted me and said she was.
Oh, awesome.
But she was the one that came from the other church.
Oh, okay.
So I must try and find the message, because I never replied to her, and see if I can see, because if we're going back.
You're Marc, you're frozen. Or maybe I'm frozen.
It's you, Devi, you're freezing. You see, it's my witchcraft. I'm freezing her.
I know, we're having some weather here in Tennessee. That's what we call some weather.
Okay, right. Anyway, we're going to have to watch our time because we're at 25 minutes. And believe it or not, we've got 4 people coming to Circle tonight. So just our usual, if you would like to come to one of our circles, and go to that website, scottspiritraining.com. Speak to Rain, the AI, just say you want to come to the circle, and he will give you the link.
All the information.
We were talking about our adventures in America. If you want to see videos of us at the church and a lot of other things, like we were up at Hydesville Fox Sisters, there's a video of that there as well.
And Niagara Falls too.
Yeah, that's true.
That? Yeah, that's great stuff.
Yeah. I don't think there's a video of Niagara Falls, actually. Maybe I should put one. I'll
You
update it.
definitely should put one.
Yeah, I'll update it and put one up.
Good deal.
If you would like dates and times of these events for the future, register for the newsletter. So markstewartmedium.com/newsletter.
It's funny anyway, so just go ahead and register.
Yeah. And wherever you're watching us, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook profile, Facebook page, register, follow, whatever, helps us with the episodes.
Yeah, hit subscribe.
And I will be coming soon with my Marc and his cards. I know I keep saying that, and I'll get around to doing it.
He's been saying that for a month, so we'll keep saying that.
And when the weather gets better, although it's supposed to be bad this week, so that's my excuse for this week.
Okay.
We're not going to do these as live events. We've tried with the equipment, we just couldn't make it work. So we're going to be doing it as a video. We'll get a little bit of editing, and then you'll get videos of Marc and my wife Ying walking around Scotland. Fabulous. So everybody, thank you very much for being with us. Have a nice day. And if you're not watching this on YouTube or Devi's page or my page, we post list about 6 other pages that we run for different aspects of what we do. And that's not live, but come back and see us live, get the newsletter, and you'll be able to know where to go see us. See you all soon.
Thank you. Bye. Have a see you next week.